Ladies and gentlemen, here we go into game number 1 between Demuslim and Sheth. It is going to be on Antiga Shipyard, and I can't wait to see these two players going at it. In the top left-hand position, we have our Red Terran, who is, of course, Evil Genius's Demuslim. Bottom right-hand position, we have Sheth, and of course, I am joined by my good old friend, EGLZ Gamer. You might know about this guy, Demuslim.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about him once or twice.
Yeah.
Lived with him for about a month now. couple weeks ago at least.
So what can you tell us about this guy, and particularly his Terran versus Zerg? Because I know you are the Zerg resident hero over here. You have to know about his TVZ.
I know all about his TVZ. He is abusive. I think that's the word I would label it as. He is very abusive. He's an amazing player. He has a lot of aggression on his side, but he's like one of those total package Terrans, I want to say. He's good at microing. He has an amazing like 2 racks type of play, but I mean, we're not going to see that here. This is not a 2 racks type of map. This is Antiga Shipyard, and so this is more of a macro map. So I'm expecting Hellion type opening is what I'm expecting from Demuslim. He also has a build up his arsenal, which is the double reactor factory build, and that's absolutely an amazing build. So yeah, when it comes to Demuslim, he's a great player, all around solid. And then we have Liquid Sheth, and he's also a solid Zerg player.
Sheth has been playing really, really well. He is one of those players that started in the open bracket of MLG and was able to get into the championship or the group stages. And to do that is so difficult. You have to go through a huge, grueling process of playing so many games just to get to the group stages yet again, and then you have to play a really good set of series just to make sure you get up in ranks. It's very difficult to be able to get there.
It is. He's been accomplishing a lot as of late. He finished 2nd place in the BlizzCon, US BlizzCon Invitational, losing to Select, but Select we cannot take away from him. He is an amazing player, so it says nothing less of Sheth to drop a series to him. We do have Sheth going for the fast expansion, the 15 hatch, into the 15 pool. So it's pretty standard kind of opening from Sheth.
Yep, and of course from Demuslim, I'm pretty sure we're going to be something of the factory tech, probably. There's that factory that goes down. Where are you going down? There you go, finally. And is there enough room for a reactor? I'm not sure.
Yes, there definitely is.
All right. So a reactor is going to go in between here, I'm pretty sure, soon enough. Meanwhile, there is a roach warren, and I know what Sheth is doing. He opens up with like 6 or 7 roaches a lot of times, and he goes in and pressures his opponent. And behind that, he's able to do a lot of drones. He'll build a ton of them. Now, I don't know if he's changed up on a little bit. It's been a while since I've played him, actually, and he's done this style. But I know it's in his arsenal. He throws in there once in a while. And against a player like Demuslim, who is known for doing Hellions, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I actually play this kind of style as well. I love going for this fast roach warren, but maybe it doesn't work for me when I play versus Demuslim. So maybe, maybe Sheth has more luck than I do with this kind of play style.
Well, look at this. In fact, Demuslim does a really weird build where he's going a reactor on the barracks and not actually switching it off. Maybe he will now. Yes, he will. Okay, so maybe he just did the reactor a little bit later because he got this command center so early. I'm wondering how is he going to defend, though, against this incoming pressure, because these roaches, or at least these Zerglings, are making their way over. Now the roaches, and see, that's the drone behind. We can see in the production tab a lot of drones coming out right now, and Sheth will be able to pressure his opponent really nicely.
Yeah, we saw those Zerglings did stall. Yes, he was planning on losing those Zerglings, but they stalled long enough to hopefully where the roaches would get into the fog of war and he wouldn't have time to react to them until right now. We do see that he is reacting. He's throwing down a bunker. He is still producing those Hellions left and right, and he also has a Marauder on the way. Marauders do bonus damage to these roaches, but I don't know if the Marauder's going to get out in time. The roaches are here, but they're actually not focusing the SCV. There we go. There's the SCV that falls. But it looks like Demuslim just has too many units. He actually pulls some SCVs, and the SCVs are going to go down, so a little bit of harass there done by Sheth. But, I just don't know. Are these roaches even going to be able to escape now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they will be able to. He doesn't want to take any more hits. Of Demuslim doesn't want to take any more hits, and for now, I think things will settle down. Stim has been researched and initiated. Second gas hasn't been taken for Demuslim, so he's staying on this type of one gas and just really, really high mineral income. Sheth, on the meantime, let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 32 to 24, so definitely a huge advantage with those 5 or 6 initial roaches. I really love that play coming in by him.
Yeah, it actually did a lot of damage to Demuslim. He had to pull workers off the mineral line. He also lost, I want to say, 4 SCVs in that process. And losing 4 SCVs is no minor thing. We do have the Hellions, though, coming up here. Are they going to be able to deny this creep spread? No, they don't even try to. They're actually running straight into the mineral line of Sheth's natural, just targeting the drones. And he is getting quite a few drones here, but he is losing these Hellions. More roaches actually pop out just now, and these Hellions are probably going to be cleaned up.
Yeah, a total of 6 workers killed coming in from Demuslim, so he did make a little bit of, kill a little bit of drones, but not that many. He did lose a lot of Hellions in that entire engagement. We can see in the units lost, it looks like Demuslim has lost more units than his opponent. And look at that, another roach attack coming out from Sheth. I'm not sure if this is going to be as effective, though, because we do have, let's see, siege tanks coming out with siege mode, and we do have, of course, those bunkers with the marauders inside of them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Demuslim's just reacting to what he saw Sheth have. He saw that more roaches popped out. I mean, when those Hellions ran into the main, he saw that they were rallied going to the natural, so he knows that he just did build a round of them. He also saw that there was no lair, so while that's going on, he did make more marauders, and we see marauders actually being put inside the bunker, and I just don't know if this attack's going to do any kind of damage for Sheth, but Sheth does have a 3rd base now up, so maybe this is more of like a fake aggression. You know, he's probably not going to overcommit here. He'll probably just back out, and there he is. He's just backing out, and probably we'll see plenty of drones being pumped now for this 3rd base of Sheth.
Yeah, I would assume so. We do see a lot of drones being pumped right now, 8 in queue, and additionally a Baneling's Nest and an Evolution Chamber. We don't see, I don't think, a lair. No, Sheth has just sticked on Hatchery Tech, just now putting down that lair, but has been sticking on Hatchery Tech, and this is a really, really risky type of play, but he's basically saying, okay, I know my opponent's probably not going any sort of cloak or fast, what are they called, medevacs. I'm going to just rely on my creep spread and my Baneling Zergling Roach to defend against anything, and I will be absolutely fine.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times I'm kind of confused why people upgrade melee over armor if they're only doing, like roaches and banelings and lings, you know, because armor will help both to where melee attack only helps the lings and banelings.
Yes, and it's good to get that additional attack or that additional damage with those banelings, but I mean, if you can close in faster, I think, you know, banelings with that that +1 armor really help out, especially when you're going up against a build like this, which is Marine Marauder, and all you have to do is close in on your opponent. You don't have those mass siege tanks or something like mech where you have to worry about really closing in on your opponent. You know you're going to close in.
We do have the 3rd base coming up for Demuslim. Demuslim is playing a very passive kind of game. He's not putting any kind of harass or pressure on because he knows the Zerg actually is trying to do the pressure. So he's just defending all of the attacks that the Zerg can throw at him at this point while building up his economy and building up his army, getting that number of tanks that he really wants.
Yep, and it looks like Sheth is gearing up for something right now. Is he going to merge some banelings? Centrifugal hooks isn't being upgraded. Well, it just started right now. But you know what? I think, to be completely honest, there is enough defense here. The siege tanks are perfectly placed, and he will be able to defend any sort of early game harassment. I do like this coming out from Demuslim. I think he's prepared for this very well.
Yeah, all 5 tanks are spread out very nicely. He does have 2 bunkers. He's even throwing down certain key buildings like missile turrets and stuff. And here comes the engagement from Sheth, moving in with all these Zerglings, slow banelings and roaches, but I'm just not so sure. The banelings all explode on a supply depot, and Sheth loses his entire army.
And that is going to be brutal. That's going to be the trigger. Instantly, Demuslim says, okay, you just lost so much from that entire engagement. I'm going to go ahead and unsiege, take my space at least. I would love him to just at least take the middle. That would be the best place, and just start to camp out there. Stop stop Sheth from ever expanding off of 3 base. He can only, or excuse me, more than 3 base. He can only stay on 3 base. But no, Demuslim might even push in even further. I don't know if he can do this on creep. This is a little bit scary.
Yeah, but that's a lot of siege tanks, and they do siege up. Zerglings get a perfect surround on them, though. Those tanks are going to go down, but now there's so many Marauders, and Marauders, yes, they don't do great versus Banelings, but Banelings don't do great versus them either.
Yep, and it looks like Demuslim will live after that, and this is really, really troublesome for Sheth. This is all time that Sheth really wanted to be droning up, but that's not going to happen at all. Siege tank is down here as well. 2 queens are going to be taken out. Income tab is showing equal harvesters, which of course is worse out for the Zerg. We can see Zerglings and Banelings have been made over here on the back. It does look like another small group, a small squadron of forces are going to go here and deny this gold expansion from getting up. It's not going to be alive for much longer. And huge Baneling Zergling break is going to happen in the main army near the 3rd base of Demuslim. Look at that. He's going to be able to pick up very, very easily. But it's not going to be enough time. That hatchery goes down at the gold expansion. And Demuslim taking a really, really nice advantage in this game. Yeah,
Demuslim's playing very, very solid. Really like what he does. He's even unloading his units right there, and these Zerglings are just not doing the DPS needed to outdo these tanks, Marines, and Marauders.
Looking really good, Demuslim is, and now we can see Sheth is on just mass Zerglings, and Zerglings are okay, but they're just not sustainable what's going on. It's not that snowball unit such as the, infestors, such as the even the roaches to an extent, but the big one are going to be, of course, the mutalisks. He needs that snowballing unit, and he hasn't even gotten the tech yet. Spire is just about 80% of the way done, and this is going to get troublesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Terran is just building up a huge death ball. Demuslim's macro is spot on, while Sheth has been kind of hovering minerals this whole game. And he really needs to throw down maybe another macro hatch or something, because he's been holding up to that 1,000+ minerals for a long time now. And here comes the Baneling Zergling. This tank does siege. Marines do spread like crazy, but that's a lot of Banelings.
Yep, and Roach is coming out again. Not going to utilize his Spire tech at all. It's because he doesn't have a lot of gas, and I'm wondering why he doesn't. I guess it's all going towards these Banelings. +2 attack is finished for Zerg. What do we have for Demuslim? Demuslim is looking like, if I can click a single unit, 1-1 for his Marines and Marauders, and we do see 4 Marines just poking in here. This is just to try to say, hey, Sheth, go, go, go. Try to attack on me because I am really, really looking good. Now finally the big engagement is happening. The Zerglings are all going to clump up on a couple units in the front. Now Banelings are off creep, and they are not doing well at all, getting splattered all across Antiga Shipyard, and it looks like finally pushing everything back, but the Marines are just going to collapse back, taking the umbrella and taking the huge concave, pushing the roaches all the way backwards, and now no more Banelings out. This is going to be very, very troublesome. I don't think that that Demuslim is going to be contested at all. These Marines and Marauders and Medivacs are going to be too much for Sheth.
Yeah, every time Demuslim wins a battle, he's just taking another position win. His tanks move up closer to the base, and we see right now more Lings and Roaches being streamed in, but there's just so many Terran units here. I just don't know if Sheth can clear this up.
No, after losing the 3rd base, I don't think there's any way. Now Baneling's going to come in here, and they do splatter across this, but it's going to be too little, too late. GG comes out from Sheth, and Demuslim takes game number 1. And that's going to do it for Sheth. So Demuslim's going to take a quick victory. Not too quick, don't get me wrong, but that was very, very intense. Sheth really trying to put the pressure on his opponent. Had so many combinations, roach after roach after roach. Finally ran into a brick wall that was 6 siege tanks perfectly spread out all over the place. Immediately when Demuslim had that huge win from that battle, he said, unsiege, go.
Yeah, I felt like, there was really no reason for Sheth to attack then.
Yeah.
Like, you never really want to attack when Terran's fully set up unless you have to. And that wasn't one of those situations where you have to. He should have just pulled back. He should have just macroed up. He should have just got, he could have even went to infestors or anything like that as well.
I'm really interested why he did that. I just don't understand why he actually went to push in. I don't know what the trigger was. I don't know why he thought he had an advantage at that time. I'm really interested about that. Do you have any insight on that?
Maybe he thought it was a lot less than what he was actually fighting. Maybe he thought he was like, oh, this is only like 3 siege tanks. Okay, I can take that kind of feeling. And I've made that attack. I don't know how many times. And like, oh, I got this. And then everything dies and I kill nothing. And it's just like, wait a second.
Yeah. You know, and then, of course, Demuslim, that constant pressure, I can't stress that enough. It forces just pure Zergling Banelings, and Zergling Banelings are not the most retentive units. Actually, they're not retentive at all.
Yeah.
You know, two shots with the Blue Flame Hellion, one shot with a siege tank, just a couple fires from Marines, kills Zerglings. Of course, Banelings, they need to trade their lives for the cause of Zerg. So you need to reproduce all that, and that's a lot of minerals and gas that's not going into those snowballing units as we were talking about before. The Infestors, the Roaches, the Mutalisks.
Yeah,
but really, the Infestors and the Mutalisks are the two things that you really want to focus on. Of course, not able to do that. Sheth ultimately had his untimely death at around the 18-minute mark.
Yep. That was the conclusion to the first game,
Yep.
but we have more games to come.
I know. So game
two.
number 2 coming up. Sheth versus Demuslim. Don't go away. We have a lot more action coming your way.